Okay, so today's lesson is all about midpoints and medians in triangles. So first off, a midpoint, what's that? Well, that's the exact middle of a line. So I have a line segment here, is AB, okay? So my line segment here is AB. So if this side is one length, and this side is another length, that means that the length of AM is the same as the length of MB. So AM is equal in length to MB. So the midpoint is exactly in the middle, okay? And that means that the total length is 2 times it. All right, so I did an investigation. So I followed the rules off of the instructions off of page 394, took a piece of paper, came up with a bunch of really cool things. So again, let's recap. Midpoint is in the middle, exactly different sides. So if I put 2 midpoints on here and I join them up in a line, so these guys are both the same length, these guys are both the same length, I notice that this one, that the length of this is half the length of the bottom. So the bottom is twice the length of the line segment joining the 2 midpoints. I discovered also that this line is parallel to this line, which then gives me lots of really cool important things in terms of angles, right? That F pattern shows up real good. And we also notice that the height here, so remember that's a 90-degree angle, so this height here is half of the total, so the total is twice that height. So that's a little height, that's a little height, and the total. So I found a lot of really cool things with this one. So let's put that in action. So here I've got 3 different examples, so let's work through them here. So example A. So here I've got a midpoint, see the dashes. There's another midpoint, see the dashes. So if this length, so if AM is equal to 12, therefore CT has to be twice that length. So it's 24. Cool, eh? Let's look at this one. So here again, I've got midpoints, midpoints, so check out the dashes on the side. So that tells me that this one, so the length of DH is going to be half the length of MY. So it's half of 21. Well, that's 10.5. Cool, eh? Well, we can throw algebra in there too. We love algebra. Okay, well, I love algebra. So again, we've got midpoints, midpoints, midpoints. So that means this length here and this length here are related, right? So QR and WY are related. So I know the long side is twice the short side. So that tells me that 2 times my short side, QR, which is 2x minus 3, equals my big side, which is x plus 9. Well, we know how to solve these things, so let's do it. All right, so first we have to expand our brackets. So remember that means that we're multiplying. So 2 times 2 gives me 4x minus 2 times 3 gives me 6 equals x plus 9. Bring my x over to this side, so I have to minus x from both sides. So that means I now have 3x on that side. I didn't touch the minus 6 and I didn't touch the 9, so they tag along. So instead of minus, let's do the opposite. So I need to add 6 to both sides, so that leaves me with 3x equals 15. Finish it all off, so I have to divide both sides by 3, and that now means that x is 5. So total length here, so QR is going to be equal to, what was that, 2x minus 3. So 2 times 5 minus 3 gives me 10 minus 3, which is, 7. And let's look at the big long one here, which is what, WY. So it was equal to x plus 9. So 5 plus 9. 14. Look at that. We got it right. Hey, this example looks fun. So now I have, let's see, I am looking for angle FAE. So find your letters, FAE. So that means I'm looking for this angle in here. Okay. And I need to provide reasoning, so I can't just randomly write down a number. And I'm also going to look for the length of EF. So we need all of those pieces. Okay, so, oh boy, what do we even know? So sometimes when you don't really know where to go with a question, just start figuring out things that you do know. So here I have a triangle right here. And I do know some information about this triangle. I know that's a 60-degree angle, and that symbol right there tells me it's a 90-degree angle. So I can figure out this angle. So that's a good one to know. Okay, so let's figure out this angle here. So who's this? This is angle DEC. So let's find that one. So angle DEC, well, that plus my 90 plus my 60 has to equal 180 degrees, right? Because that's the interior angles of a triangle. So let's put things together. So angle DEC plus 9 plus 6 gives me 15, so 150. Minus the 150 from both sides. And let's see, the angle is 30 degrees. Okay, so if this is 30 degrees here, well, opposite angles tells me that this is also 30 degrees. So let's write that one down. So angle AEF has to equal to 30 degrees because of opposite angles, right? So I now know that angle in this triangle, so that's helpful. What else do we know? Let's see. Oh, so F is a median. So that's a midpoint. Sorry, not median. There's a midpoint. And E is also a midpoint. So what do I know about midpoint lines? So I know this line and this line must be parallel. So if those two lines are parallel, then that means this angle is the same as this angle. Okay. So angle AFE equals 125 degrees. So there's my parallel line theorem. What's that? My F pattern. So this is 125 degrees. Oh, now I can figure out the angle for A. Oh, look at that. So angle FAE plus 125 plus 30 all have to equal to 180 degrees, right? Interior angle theorem, sorry. So add them all up. Angle FAE plus 125 plus 135 gives me 155, gives me 180. Subtract that from both sides. And what do we got? My angle is 25 degrees. 25 degrees. So that's really cool. Okay, what's left? I still need to figure out, so check, done. Length of EF. Oh, well, since that is the line connecting the two midpoints, then therefore this length has to be half the distance of this length. So that's pretty exciting. So FE is half the length of BC. And it tells me that that length is 16. Well, half of 16 is 8. So there we go. Cool, eh? So here we have one of the examples from your textbook, and we're looking at an A-frame construction. So in areas that get a lot of snow, cottages are often built with a triangular shape called an A-frame. This shape helps prevent damage from heavy loads of snow on the roof. So I want to figure out the width of the floor of the upper room of the cottage. So that would be this line right here. So that's going to be the length of DE. Well, can we figure that out? Oh, for sure. If D and E are midpoints, which they are, so 3 equals 3, 3 equals 3. So that means this line has to be half the length of this line. So DE is equal to half the length of BC. And the question is telling me that BC is equal to 6. So equals to 3 meters. So there's A. B, find the height of the upper room. So my height is here. And remember that line that connects the two midpoints is also taking the total height and dividing it by 2, right? Which means this height and this height are the same. Oh, well, we already know that too. So height is equal to 2.5 meters. Nice. Okay, so another thing we did in the investigations video was we investigated these medians. So what's a median? A median is the line segment joining a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. So bisect means to divide into two equal parts, and a right bisector is when the bisector is at right angles to the line and bisects. Okay, let's back it up here a little bit. What are we talking about today? So one of the other things we wanted to look at is area of a triangle. So remember, the area of a triangle is equal to half times my base times my height, right? So the base is the bottom here, and here's my height. And remember, height has to be at right angles to the base. So if I have an obtuse triangle like this, I have to extend the line in order to get my height. Okay, this is my base here. Okay, so when we did this in the investigation, we discovered that this height was the same regardless of how we kind of cut our triangle up. And we discovered that the area of the original triangle was twice the area of the two triangles that we created by putting a median in there. So what does that mean? So here's a triangle here. Here's my midpoint, so let's just call him M. So this area on this triangle over here and this area on this part of the triangle here, well, those guys are both equal. So we discovered that the median line split my total area equally into two. So I know that the area of triangle AB, oops, that's a D, ABD is equal to the area of AMD plus the area of MBD. And we divided it equally. So if this is 30, which is what the question is telling me, well, each of them gets half of it. Because remember, half of 30 is 15. Therefore, each of the smaller triangles have an area of 15 centimeters squared.